Lori here. Welcome to How Do You Spirit? And we have a fun guest today. This is Eryn. Hi, Eryn. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for your truck and driving all the way out here. It's a little ways, but anyway. So first I wanted to tell everyone we are on episode number 13 already this year. So woohoo for us. Yay. Eryn, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
I'm Eryn Fonoti. I am a quantum hypnosis facilitator.
Okay.
And I hold all kinds of really interesting energy, the space for the energy to come through.
Okay.
So I guide people into spaces so that they can reclaim their own knowing and their own truth. And, I really like to work with people who are ready to stop outsourcing their truth.
Yes.
And diving into what they've always known, even though they haven't had access to it.
That's amazing. And with that being said, I had the opportunity to do a session. It was a couple weeks ago, right? With Eryn. And most of my focus, I thought, for my session was to dive into my past lives more and kind of find information out about those. And then I also had some general questions. And I reached out to Eryn prior to my session. I'm like, what kind of questions can I ask? And she's like, ask anything. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, anything. Absolutely.
Yes.
Anything.
So not knowing what to expect, I always wondered about hypnosis and kind of how that is possible, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to see Eryn. And what was the first thing we did? I can't remember the name of it, where I laid on the vibration.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The bed.
Yep. So that's the Opus sound bed.
Okay. And what is its purpose?
Okay. So the Opus sound bed is a pretty unique tool.
Uh-huh.
It's got like 9 different transducers in it. So its purpose is to give your whole body a reset or recalibration. Those different transducers pump frequency in, and there's headphones.
Yes.
So you have headphones that play music, and then the whole bed vibrates in tune with the music. So it's not just like the bed vibrates. It's like, the different spots. Yes, it was
crazy, and it's super intense.
Yeah, it's very immersive, and it's like some people say it jettisons them out of their body. Others, like me, I drop so far into my body that there's no possible way to escape the present moment. But really what it does is it attunes your body to a specific frequency.
Okay.
So I use it pre-hypnosis because it helps get us there without so much resistance. It helps recalibrate the nervous system so that we're not fighting against it, but we're working in tandem.
That's crazy. Yeah, it is. It is really, really intense. So I go through that process. And then, I want to mention before too, Eryn spent an hour with me going over all of my questions and really diving deep and asking the questions, to get more details on stuff, right?
Right.
And I felt like that's what you were really great at. So she records the session and then goes over it and everything and gets it back to you. And I loved that you just know the questions to ask to get more information, right?
Well, you got to ask good questions to get good answers. And so
that's true. Okay.
I've been really honing that ability. That's been one of the things that when I started doing this, I was like, well, honestly, when I first started, I'm like, I can't do this because I don't know how to ask good questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was because I had that awareness, like, oh, well, that's a skill I have to get.
And that was something I had to also learn so I've been doing readings for several years, but I really had to learn how to ask spirit the questions to get the answers for the person. So I'm going through that actually now. I'm getting way, way better at it. But anyway, so I've had to learn to do that investigative work, So anyway, we start and she takes you to, imagine this, I guess imagining me in a place, right? So you kind of guide the person into a place, right?
Well, it's not so much I guided you into the place. So remember, initially we started going to the most beautiful place.
Yes.
So
yes,
you
that's
told
right.
me about the most beautiful place.
Oh, that's right. See,
yeah. Well, it's not uncommon to forget because you're in theta, which is that right before dream space, and you don't easily remember your dreams once they've passed.
Yes.
So we're in that same space. So
Okay.
that's one of the main reasons why we do the recording, is because that'll help trigger remembering what you experienced,
Yes.
because it's in that dream state.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so I'm imagining myself in a beautiful place.
Mhm.
And if I recall correctly, was it the mountains? The
Yes.
mountains and like water.
Mhm.
Yep, yep.
Yep, yep.
Okay. So we do that. And then you start asking me questions. And honestly, I don't remember exactly. I remember picturing in my mind where I was going with my past life that came up.
Yeah.
So, how did you get me to that past life? What did you tell me?
So, just so anybody who's watching is clear,
Mm,
what we did specifically was QHHT,
okay,
which is quantum healing hypnosis techniques. So this was pioneered by Dolores Cannon a long time ago.
awesome.
Um, so anybody who's familiar with our work, you'll be able to follow along with this. But essentially, what we do is we're in your beautiful place. We're anchoring the sensations and that calmness. Again, this is really training your nervous system to come into that parasympathetic place. Because if you have any type of resistance or fear,
Uh huh.
your parasympathetic nervous system is not working. We're in the sympathetic, and so we're not going anywhere.
Oh,
So we
wow.
come to this place to find peace and
Okay.
relax and feel safe.
Okay.
And once you feel safe, then the door opens. And
Ah.
what we did was find a cloud.
Uh huh.
You found a cloud.
I don't even remember that.
You floated up to a cloud.
Yeah.
I had you peer down over the valley or the mountain scene that you were in, looking at
Uh
it from a
huh.
higher perspective. And
Yes.
then we lay back in the cloud and you just rest. And that's really when the induction begins. That's when we take you
Okay.
deep into the hypnosis state,
Uh huh.
and pop out in a past life.
That's so wild, honestly. Like, I would have never been able to get that information for myself. From what I remember from my past life, is I was on a journey and to a castle.
Mhm.
And I went inside the castle walls and I was looking around and I felt like I was being sneaky, like trying not to get caught. And I come to find out as we're moving through the castle, and Eryn was asking me questions. I remember you asking, what does the ground look like? What color's the dirt, the soil? What does that all look like? And it was at nighttime. I was trying to be super sneaky and quiet so nobody noticed me or I didn't get caught. And I went in, and through the process, I find out that I am a younger child of the king and queen of the castle. And I'm being sequestered kind of
Yeah.
from everyone because I was the special one and they wanted to protect me. So I lived outside of the castle walls, and they did have other people living outside, kind of tending to me, I guess,
Mhm.
keeping an eye on me, making sure I was safe. As we go through this process, I remember walking through the castle and seeing things, and I remember seeing lots of torches, the fire, and I remember having to hide because I heard somebody
Right.
coming. And then I popped back out after that went away, and Eryn takes me through the process, and we would fast forward. What did you take me ahead, like 10 years or
I didn't
something?
say a timeline. I just said to the next important date.
Oh, okay, okay. So the next important date, from what I recall, is my father, the king, was ill
Mhm.
and was, basically ready to pass away, I guess. And so my mother brought me to the castle, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to start helping mom, queen, to, I guess, fill in when she's gone as well.
Right.
Yeah. So he passes away, and I'm now living in the castle, and I'm being introduced to the people, or the kingdom, I
Yeah.
guess, as a kind of this person assisting the queen as the daughter. And then we fast forward, and the queen dies, right?
Mhm.
And so then I take over and become the queen. And and I've got my kingdom. And I remember we had to leave because there was a lot of sickness.
Yeah, the plague.
Yeah, the plague. Oh my gosh. And so people were dying everywhere, and we had to leave to go to, I guess, somewhere that wasn't infested with the plague. I don't know.
Yeah, it was somewhere kind of like secluded.
Yeah. So I take myself and the rest of the people that are left, and I also have a friend that has been assisting me, I believe, from what I remember. And so we move everybody away from there and basically start a new group or kingdom, I guess, but it's smaller. One of the questions I had is, I have a very dear friend that we've always felt like we've been connected. And we asked if she, was connected to me in past lives. And she was actually turned out to be my very dear friend that was assisting me through being the queen and all this stuff. So that was, and I told her, by the way.
Did you?
Yes, she thought it was super cool. She's like, I knew it. Anyway, so that's what I remember about that journey. I can't really remember. I should have listened to the recording right before we met. But anyway, I think we lived happily ever after. Did we?
Well, you passed away.
Oh, I did.
You did.
Okay, I don't remember. Okay.
Old and quiet in your bed.
So I lived a fulfilling life and I passed away. Okay. And yeah. So super interesting. Like I said, I never would have been able to pull that information out of myself on my own.
Well, I think you're missing some of the key
details. Probably. Let's hear them.
So you were being hidden away because you were special.
Yes.
There was it kept coming back that you were being hidden away because you were special and that you needed to be kept safe. But we could never decipher what the danger was.
Okay.
What you were being hidden away from. Until the time was right.
Yes.
And then when you were the queen, and as you were training to be the queen, I don't remember you having training. It was just you were with your mom, and then she was gone,
and then I you
had to fulfill that role.
I took over. Yeah.
But you were magical. You had healing powers.
Oh, yes. Okay, I remember now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about that because that was, I think, a really important part.
So I've always, and that was another question I'd asked you. I've always kind of felt I've been connected to the witchy side of things. And I love the crystals. And we talked about my favorite color being teal. And why I'm so attracted to glass and pretty shiny things. And from, again, what I remember, I was a healer, right? And I used these crystals, and now it's starting to come back to me. So the crystal colors, you asked about the colors, and they were yellow and blue, which explains my attraction to blue crystals, blue glass, blue teal, mostly teal colored. But and I would use those crystals to help heal people, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And what else can you tell me that maybe I'm forgetting?
Those two were the two big things. So you were hidden away because you were special. There was something that couldn't be known until it was time.
Yeah.
And that you were this powerful, I want to say witch, but you weren't a witch.
You just a healer. Powers. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you were training your apprentice. Not just to rule your kingdom, but to continue the
healing part.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yes. Wow. That's so crazy. And I think about when I think about all of that and how it translates into my life I'm living now, it makes so much sense. I mean, you can see I have crystals everywhere in here. But anyway, so yeah, that was super, super fun. Then we went away from that life, right? And I think we asked about another one. And I believe that you asked how many lives I had. And I had 6 past lives. I do remember that. And it seems that I was royalty in all of my past lives. Like I was a higher upper or something. So that's interesting as well. And again, translating that into my life now, I do feel like people look to me for advice
Mhm.
and want my opinion with things and that kind of stuff. So again, that makes
Yeah.
sense coming from that. So one of the questions that I asked you, since I've gotten older, I've become fearful of, well, not really a fear. I get a little anxious with being claustrophobic.
Right.
And it started probably in my early 40s. And when I'd go in underground parking garages, I just felt like the walls, the ceiling and the ground would like close in
Right.
on me. And anything I watch on TV, like if they're going into caves or underground water, that kind of stuff, it just like really bothers me. So we asked that question. And come to find out, I fell off a boat in one of my lives and I drowned. So
Yep.
that again makes sense why. And I was older when that happened.
Right.
So, anyway, so again, that makes sense of how that's translated to my life now. And I go back to that in hopes that releasing that so I don't get those feelings of anxiousness in those situations.
Have you had anything that would have given you anxiousness happen since then?
No, I have not.
Man, I should have had you intentionally
I
go in
know
a
I
parking
should have
garage.
went downtown, right? Found the deepest parking garage ever and tried it.
Yeah. It's often that when we do have things that are caused from a previous lifetime, but
Uh-huh.
just the acknowledgement of what that was, where it's coming from, is enough to.
To let it go. Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll have to fill you in later on that
Yeah.
one when I have an experience. The other thing I learned is that it kind of my purpose with this life is I was supposed to have kids because in all the lives I had, I only had one child and it died, so it passed away. So I didn't have that experience with children. So this life, I decided, I guess I wanted to have all the kids. And I have all the kids. I have 5 children in this life. So, and I love every one of them. They're all different in their own special ways and being able to experience all of their, different personalities and everything. So, that's crazy. I never thought as a younger person that I would end up with 5 children.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, whoa. Anyway, but it's been great. So that was another thing that was great to find out. I'm trying to think. Can you recall of any other questions that I can't remember everything I asked?
Yeah. Well, there's just a couple of things that maybe we just haven't gotten to with
Hmm.
so we go from a previous life and we kind of review that life
Uh-huh.
from the spirit side. So you kind of look at it. What was the lesson of this life? What did I learn?
Uh-huh.
And then we go to talk to the higher self. This is where we got most of these
Oh,
answers that
okay.
we're talking
Yes.
about right
Yes.
now, where we
Correct. Yep.
learn about how many lives you've had and you dying, you drowning, the royalty thing, the not having kids thing. That's where we learned about all these. These things weren't coming out in a past life. We were just talking to your higher self
Okay.
or
Okay.
your subconscious mind, depending on how you want to view that.
Yes.
One thing that I found really fascinating is in our conversation before, you were talking about wanting to have all your family together in like a compound.
Yes. I just got the chills.
And that feels a whole lot like a kingdom.
It does.
So I think those two are
Wow.
linked. I don't have any kids. You were the only kid in that life, and you were
Yes.
not allowed in the kingdom.
Yes.
Now you want to have all your kids in.
That 100% makes sense. Chelsea and I talk about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, Chelsea and I talk about that. Wouldn't that be cool if, we had the houses and all the houses and we could just all live together in the same land, but be spread out enough so we
Uh-huh.
don't drive each other nuts.
It was actually just reflecting on your session that made me think, because this family compound thing, I've seen it a few places
Uh-huh.
recently, like it's coming back.
Yeah.
It is like the modern day kingdom.
Yes. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think
So
because I feel as a
crazy.
society in general, we're kind of moving to this like slowly, very slowly moving to more of
Right.
a tribal type,
Uh-huh.
living together in small groups,
Yes.
but like not in the same house, but
right.
creating little mini kingdoms all over the place,
So
which
crazy.
I think is really interesting.
It is.
And then we talked to Rob. your
Oh,
spirit guide.
yes, my spirit guide. I forgot that part too.
Yeah. I'm surprised he had a presence.
Yeah. 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 When I listen to the recording, you can definitely tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's me talking, but like you said, the personality
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. It's so interesting when you can feel, for me, I can feel the energy in the room shift.
Yeah.
And so I can, okay, so this is something else coming through. And the cadence of speech usually changes and the way the speech comes through changes.
Uh-huh.
So it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's proof that we're not just making this up.
Yes, it's the real deal
Yeah.
for sure. So I do remember in speaking with Rob, one of my questions was, how can I better connect to him and get answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to tune into him with a static frequency.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so I have been working on that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Because I can connect to other people's guides super easy, but when I try to ask him questions, I struggle. I feel like I struggle getting the answer back.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't come to me so easy like if I'm doing a reading. So that was super helpful.
Good.
And I have been working on that.
Oh, I just got the impression of like, listen. Do you like listen to static?
I have been imagining that frequency in my mind and hearing it in my mind, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like not actually listening, but listening in my
Listening.
mind.
Yeah, like imagining it. That's kind of what I thought, like watching an old TV with the static. And
Yeah,
what
like
that experience is.
poltergeist.
Yeah.
Maybe all of you don't know what that is, but a very old movie.
I think that
Anyway,
would be,
yeah.
And then he pops out of it.
He's like, oh, hey, how can I be of assistance?
funny.
Yeah. So, no, that's how I've been trying to do that, is to hear the static in my mind while trying to communicate and call on him at the same time.
Maybe you're trying too hard because he did implant the frequency in you.
Oh,
Yeah, he's like, well, I'll just implant it. So it's in you. You just got to go and find it.
okay.
So stop trying.
I'm
Just do
I'm
it.
trying too hard. Okay. Way back there in my mind. Let's dig this. Okay, awesome. I forgot about that too. Thank goodness you recorded that. So it's always good to be able to go back and re-listen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you're gonna
refresh your
remember more
mind.
and more and more each time.
Yeah.
Because it's not just an experience. It's not just a conversation that I'm having with these different entities that you interact with. It is a complete energetic container.
Yeah.
So what you don't hear on the recording is still felt. So your body will still attune and come back to that place.
That's so interesting. And I feel like I really need to listen to it again, because the second time around, like you said, I might pick up something that I didn't recognize the first time that I listened. Yeah. So insightful. And I definitely will be back, because I want to dive into more of my past lives, because I told you too, I felt like I'm very connected with Egyptians and Egypt.
Right.
And I just love that culture, and I'm fascinated with the pyramids and everything. And that didn't come up.
No.
Which was I thought that was so interesting, because I've been so curious about it all this time, but something else presented itself. So I really need to know what that connection is.
It's really interesting because we're not in control at this. We can do all the things and we can set all the intention, but your higher self, your subconscious mind, your nervous system really do run the show.
Yeah.
And so we have to meet it where it's at and
just take it and run with it.
Yep.
Huh? That's so, I love it. Yeah. But I'm super excited to do another session.
Good. Me
yes.
too.
Yeah. It's about 2-hour session.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a lot of information. And one thing I wanted to mention, after the session we're done, you mentioned that we would be I would feel very rested. And I did. After that, I was nauseous a little bit. And when I got home, I was exhausted. Like the life had been sucked out of me.
Yeah.
And I just attribute that to the energy and all that deep connection and everything.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it too. I was extremely tired too. Like I had to just go home and plop on the couch and just check out.
I told my husband, I'm like, you're on your own for everything because I'm just going to go sit in my chair and not do nothing because I did. I have not felt that exhausted. I don't remember the last time.
Mm.
So yes, it really, but I feel like you probably get into that energetic space where you just really, to be able to get that information. Does that make
Yeah, we
sense?
were tapping into a very different energy space.
Uh-huh.
And it's not only that, but imagine the energy we're calling through.
Yes.
And so while it's not physically taxing in any way, it's very restful in that
Yeah.
way because your body is resting. Your nervous system is not. Your nervous
Oh,
system is expanding its capacity to hold a whole lifetime. And then we're connecting to your higher self too.
yeah.
So that's a whole lot of energy that we're not used to.
It's honestly mind-blowing, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to have the experience so I can speak of it because it's hard to wrap your head around,
Yeah,
honestly.
it is.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
It
crazy.
sounds like science fiction a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it's not, people. It's
It's
not.
very real.
It is very,
Yeah.
very real. Awesome. So, what was your journey like getting to where you are today and wanting to do this and help people?
So interesting. I've been since I can remember. I've always been into yoga and like
Uh-huh.
diving into the different realms and stuff.
Yes.
And 10.5 years ago, started the self-love journey. I had my
Uh-huh.
daughter, and I realized at that point that my daughter was going to love herself the same way I do. So I better like
That's
fix
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
So I went through that, and that cracked me wide open into all kinds of other possibilities.
Mhm.
I think anybody else who's gone through that kind of a journey, it does. It's like a gateway drug.
Mhm.
Self-love is a gateway drug
Yeah,
to expanded worlds and dimensions
I agree.
and all of that. So
Yes.
that was really, I guess, if we want to go back to the origin, is when it started. Since then, I taught yoga. I learned how to teach yoga. Did that. I
Mhm.
led meditation, breathwork, all this stuff. I had my own studio for a while, and I always just kind of felt like I was doing stuff, but it
Uh-huh.
was never right. It was never. I was trying to fit into different molds, and then I started listening to Dolores Cannon's books.
Yes.
And it's interesting. I always thought that aliens
Mhm.
and spiritual were very different things. Never did the two mix until
Right.
I started listening to her stuff, and she mashed those two things together and
Yep.
blew my mind completely wide open. And
Uh-huh.
and then I was like, well, I have to do now.
You're
I
go
have to do
I'm
this
in.
now. So I did the training, and
Uh-huh.
I went through. You have to do so much of the practice
Okay.
to like be officially through it.
Uh-huh.
And as I was going through the practice of it, I decided I'm no good at this. I don't know how to ask good
Oh,
questions.
okay. Yeah.
So I put it away.
You
I
stopped?
stopped. I put it away. I got through my like practical hours or whatever. And I was like, nah, that was fun. And I went about my business. And my husband and I, we have a financial firm as well. And so I was
Mhm.
like, I'll focus my energy there. I'll just do that.
Mhm.
And that didn't land. I mean, like, I still do that, but it
Right.
it doesn't feel me. It doesn't fulfill my
Yeah.
purpose. And so I remember very distinctively, I was listening to a book by Sarah Landon. She
Mhm.
does channeling, and I think the book was called You Are the Channel. And I remember I was mowing the lawn. I
Uh-huh.
was in a really 2024 was a really hard year. Like everything negative could
Yeah.
happened in that year. And
Uh-huh.
it was, I don't remember the exact timeline. Maybe it was before that. But I remember mowing the lawn and this part of the book that said, when you're ready for your channel, because I thought maybe I was a channel. Maybe I wanted to be a channel. I could channel some dimensional things and have a YouTube channel and do that.
Right.
I'm trying again to fit into somebody else's mold.
Yeah.
So I was like, in the book, it said, you just have to repeat to yourself, am I ready for my channel? Am I ready for my channel? So I remember mowing the lawn and I'm saying out loud, am I ready for my channel? Am I ready for my channel?
Yes.
As I'm doing the whole thing. And then it switched. I'm like, I am ready for my channel. I am ready for, and I was getting pissed. I'm ready for my
Really?
channel, like yelling it.
I love it.
And then I stopped because I heard a voice say, well, you had it
Mm.
and you gave it away. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh, I'm getting the chills. You're right.
okay, fine. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it. But it's got to be fun and easy. It's got to
Mhm.
be fun and easy, and I'll do it. And so I started doing it, and it's been fun and easy ever since.
Wow. Do you think it's some of the first round was maybe just a little bit of self-doubt?
Oh, yeah.
that got the ego got involved and
Mhm.
started, then our mind starts going nuts and thinking things and
Yeah.
yeah.
There was a lot of growing in between when I did the practice hours and did the course, and then when I got the call again. There was a lot
Mhm.
of trials I had to go through on a personal level that I
Uh-huh.
think made me the person I needed to be able to
Yeah,
step into
to
this work.
prepare. Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to hold the container that's needed.
Mhm.
Before that, I think I had the availability to do it. I've been able to hold space really well. It's a part of my design, as you were like
Yeah.
my cosmic blueprint with all the different, modalities that
Mhm.
tell you who you are.
Yes.
But I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to hold space the way I do now and how to regulate my own nervous system in order to affect people. And I do now. And so I
That's
think
amazing.
I just needed to have a few more puzzle pieces to click into place before.
Again, it's a excuse me, a divine like timing thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we have to get to a point where I guess in our growth and journey, right? And just like you said, having all the puzzle pieces fall into
Yeah.
place. Yeah,
Yep.
that's incredible. Do you still do the yoga stuff? Do you practice yoga? Nothing.
No, I don't even practice yoga by myself anymore, which my body really wants to.
I get
So I
that.
should. I mean, I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But if
no.
it's not so fulfilling, right?
I don't want to teach yoga.
Mm.
I closed my studio before I even started doing this
Uh-huh.
because it felt more of a burden. Like I was doing it because I had to,
Yeah,
not because it lit me on fire.
right.
So I stopped doing that. I learned along that time frame. I gotta stop doing the stuff that drains me, even if
Yeah.
it feels like I'm supposed to do it. It doesn't align. It doesn't deserve my time.
Yeah, and that probably too, of course, like I just said, some of the self-doubt probably creeped in with the other a little bit, but don't you feel like when we really are on working towards our purpose and in alignment, look how easy it is for
Yeah,
you now,
yeah.
you know?
I think so. I think when you're on purpose, things are easy. It's
Yep.
when we fight the current
Yep.
that things are a struggle.
Yes, I agree. So do you how how often do you do sessions? Like
I just moved. So I moved into a studio because I was doing it from
uh-huh.
my home and it was going really well. Like I was
Yeah.
having several appointments a week. I try to do like 4 a week. Well, that's my
Mhm.
max because it is so energy taxing.
Oh yeah.
And I have other.
Of course.
So, I was going really well. I had a pretty consistent schedule until I moved, and then I got the plague, this thing that was going around that like knocked everybody out for 3 weeks. I
Yeah.
got that, and so I didn't
Oh.
try to tell everybody that I moved.
Uh-huh.
And the interesting thing about this work is it can be a one and done. Like I'm leading you to a place you can find so much information, and it can take a
Right.
while to integrate it.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
don't have a ton of repeat clients, which is great because what I really want to do is teach people how to find their own answers, not be the one with the answers.
Right. Going within and we'll find answers and heal, I guess. Right?
Hmm.
Don't people heal from, I guess, getting answers? I mean, that makes sense to me.
Well, there is so the cool thing, and I'm not sure that we really went into this with you. It's interesting the different sessions. There is a framework that QHHT sessions typically follow.
Mhm.
I would say 30% of my sessions follow that framework,
Okay.
and the rest don't. And because of that, right there, it's led me into this other modality that I'm developing that I call quantum communion, which I'd love to share with you here
Yes,
in just
yes.
a moment. But one of the really powerful things that QHHT does, well, I think any of this work, what I'm working on, will does the same thing.
Mhm.
But we tap into the higher self, which has the ability to heal your body instantaneously, so
Mhm.
long as your belief system allows that to happen.
Right.
Healing happens, and
Yes.
I've had clients who had severe psoriasis, and it went away within weeks afterward
Oh my
because they were
goodness.
able to see what was linking it, and
Where it was coming from
well, it was
or
coming from a previous lifetime,
yeah,
and so
the
witnessing it and
link.
severing that cord,
Oh, yeah.
it was gone.
Isn't that insane?
It's
That
crazy.
is so
It's
crazy.
like the best possible way, and that's just one account of the things that happen that are
Uh-huh.
like healing,
Yes.
actual physical healing from a moment in hypnosis. It's amazing.
Again, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around, but what an amazing thing to be help people with.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's really fun.
Wow.
Um, so quantum communion.
Yes, let's talk about that.
This is kind of been emerging for me as I went through and I started doing the QHHT really consistently and
Mm-hmm.
growing in frequency, and really it's a skill. Now I have a pretty good handle on it.
Awesome.
But things were emerging. Some things were happening in sessions that were like, "Hey, pay attention to this. This is something new."
So you were getting messages too,
I don't
kind
know if it
of?
was messages. It was more I was noticing a pattern. I was
Okay,
noticing
okay.
something emerge. Something it's
That makes
almost like
sense.
something invisible was interacting with the sessions, and
Uh-huh.
I was just looking at it. I'm like, "What?"
What is this? Yeah.
And so I sat with it. I'm like, "Okay, what's happening here?" And I
Uh-huh.
was noticing that I was butting up against spaces that existed already. These are quantum
Wow.
structures
Uh,
that exist within my client's field. And now I'm just working to tap into those and guide them into there. It's almost like I see it as a quantum sacred meeting room where it responds to your specific energy code to
mm-hmm.
allow access. When you go in there, you don't know what's available, but we've met guides, we've had communion with past grandfathers, and I've met entire spiritual teams with people and just
Oh.
had like visceral experiences in these realms with things that you can't see on the 3D.
Yeah.
And so it's really about exploring these places and learning how consciousness and the quantum interact. Because,
Mm-hmm.
as for instance, if we had another session because of the session you've had,
Uh-huh.
your consciousness has grown and expanded as a result of it, which means your consciousness will now interact with the quantum differently. It'll
Wow.
show up for you differently. It'll have a different texture, a different signature because you've
Wow.
expanded. You've changed.
Just from that one session.
And the quantum changes with us and holds us where we are.
Wow.
And so it's really about exploring this place and just know it more.
That's so intriguing. Wow. How cool.
Yeah.
I'm even more excited now.
I'm actually in the throes of the research, if you will, about this. It's a
Uh-huh.
book. I'm writing a book about it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I have this. Not can't just be a one session, only because one of the major premises that I'm really looking into is how the quantum expands with the consciousness, like how
Uh-huh.
that interaction happens and how it changes, how it shows up for you. And I've built this tool using AI.
Uh-huh.
I call it the Quantum Companion. It's an integrative tool so you can process what happened. You can upload your transcript and
Uh-huh.
and it's like set to these different parameters so you can interact with it, and it can talk you through things and ask you questions and dive deeper so you have your own integrative coach whenever you're ready.
Whoa.
It's really
That
exciting.
is insane. Wow.
It's really exciting. I'm really excited for what the future holds. I'm on a timeline, so if you want to be involved with this research portion, I'd love to
Yes.
have you.
Yes. I'm so intrigued. Wow. There's just so much out there and so much that we're all starting to tap into and learn and discover,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it's so my wheels are like turning right now. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you. Do you have anything else that Oh, Chelsea's got a question.
My story's a little weird.
Oh, let's hear
So
it.
I've
We like
I've done the
weird.
QHHT before, and I know how to instruct people on not letting the conscious mind interact because my conscious mind really played with it.
Uh-huh.
I've set into a lot of different types of stuff. I haven't found anybody that does QHHT that gets me in
Uh-huh.
as deep as I need to go.
Yes.
My soul's history is pretty old, but also brand new. It's like a conglomeration of a whole bunch of different things put together for
Uh-huh.
this unique time frame right now.
Uh-huh.
So it's almost like, hey, you need to drop into this life with a completely different energy signature than anything else and create a bridge to something.
Wow.
I don't know much about past lives for myself, my personal experience. I mean, I've witnessed a lot of them with
Yeah.
people. I have a tendency to be able to see what you see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm just tapping into
That
the
makes
energetic
sense to
field.
me. Yeah, the energy thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
makes
as I'm
sense.
walking through somebody with their past life, I close my eyes, I tune into the energy, and I'm with them.
Uh-huh.
I can see it. And so I can be like, "Hey, what's over here? I think there's something important. Can
Oh my
you
gosh.
turn over
That's
here and look?"
wow. Whoa. Yeah, my mind's like going, ooh. Anyway, that's just so, so cool. Yes. How exciting. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so appreciative and grateful that you came. And what do you have a website you want to share?
I do. Thank you for having me. It's been really fun to talk about your session with you and explore
Yes.
that. I actually do have another question for you.
Yes.
I just wanted to know, what have you felt anything
Mm.
shift in your life since that session? Like, has anything opened up? Has anything?
Let's see. I feel like it has helped me get a little bit back on track's the wrong word. Just because of all the stuff that's been going on in the world, I get distracted. So I feel like it's helping me get back to where I was at,
Mm,
you know, I guess being more in tune with my higher self and connected.
right.
It's like I was kind of doing this and now I'm kind of back to this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that. That's great.
yeah. It definitely helped that for sure. So, anyway, sorry. It's allergy season.
Yep, it is.
Anyway,
Well, you can find me at erynfonoti.com. That's ERYNFONI.com. And you can book with me there or learn about what I do. Reach out.
awesome. Thank you so much again. And thank you, everyone, for taking time to join us. And please go to our website, howdoyouspirit.com. Chelsea's worked really hard on doing some updates to that. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at How Do You Spirit. And we're also on all the socials. Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome.